Xbox On. Welcome to Xbox On, a podcast with one host about one console, Xbox. I'm said host Jesse DeRosa, and on today's episode, we'll be talking about the latest Xbox news for the week of February 19th, 2026, including PlayStation's State of Play event showed lots of interesting games that are also coming to Xbox. Gaming handhelds are becoming more expensive and more difficult to make. Battlefield 6 is still cool, I don't care what they say. All that and more. On this week in Xbox history in the year 2004, 22 years ago, Pitfall: The Lost Expedition was released for the original Xbox. Developed by Edge of Reality and published by Activision, this was a return of the popular Atari series Pitfall that nobody ever asked for. I never played this. I don't know anyone who ever played this. I don't know why anyone would ever play this. This game has a just okay review score, a Metacritic score, actually. It's honestly not as bad as I thought it'd be. To be completely frank. Guys, welcome to the Xbox On podcast. It is week 351 in a row. I'm tired, boys. 351 weeks of talking about Xbox and nobody's ever asked, how's Nintendo doing? Guys, we have a game coming out. It's a big Xbox game. Get yourselves ready, roll up your sleeves, and get excited because this week, one of the most anticipated games for coming from an Xbox Game Studios team is coming out. In fact, it's out as the time you're listening to this podcast. That's right. It's finally here. Avowed is coming. Wait, what? PlayStation 5, February 17th. That can't be right. Hey, wait a minute. Avowed is... Oh, yeah. Wait, what the fuck? Yeah, Avowed came out last year for Xbox. Oh, it's coming to PlayStation now. Oh, I see. And what is this? Oh, we're getting some updates and New Game Plus for Xbox. Oh, that's nice. But it's coming to play. Okay, that's how we're celebrating 1 year, huh? Okay, we're just putting it on play. Okay, well, Avowed's on PlayStation, guys. Just one more reason to own an Xbox. So that's great. You can go ahead and enjoy. Last year, Avowed's a good game. It's not a great game, but it's a good game. It was a little underwhelming. I thought, I really had high expectations, and judging by, or based on what Obsidian's been talking about, unfortunately, we're not going to get an Outer Worlds 3, but we will get additional games set in the Pillars of Eternity universe, or the Avowed universe, so possibly Avowed 2, or something adjacent, so hopefully the next crack at Avowed will be much better, with them making, hopefully an Avowed 2, but like from the ground up, as a proper sequel to Avowed and not as some like multiplayer 4-player co-op. I mean, they say the original pitch for Avowed at Obsidian back in the day was Skyrim meets Destiny, and obviously that fell apart at some point in development. So if they do an Avowed 2 from the ground up with the intention of it being Avowed 2 and not Destiny cross Skyrim, then I think maybe they can really, address a lot of the boring writing, boring side characters, and just general like lack of interesting things to explore, and continue to double down on the really great combat this game had, and maybe deliver a more interesting world, some more interesting characters, and a more interesting story, because that was kind of the thing about Avowed. It's like, now that I look back on it in hindsight and I just really let it sit in, and I'm just honest about it, it's like the game was fun to play, and pretty to look at, but boring in all other aspects. And that's an RPG is going to live and die by how interesting its world, characters, and story are. And so if you're a game like Avowed, where your world, characters, and where your world, your characters, and your story are kind of just meh, yeah, that's a problem. So I have a lot of faith that an Avowed 2 could be pretty great. So I do look forward to that. But what are we talking about? Oh yeah, go play Avowed on your PlayStation 5, you Xbox gamers. All right, guys, let's hop right into the news this week. We got a decent number of stories, a couple sad ones, but a decent number of stories to talk about. And then we'll get into what I've been playing and some listener comments and stuff. Oh boy, I've been balls deep in a couple games, so I'm really enjoying the games I'm playing. So we'll get to all that. But first, I wanted to basically start off this week's news recapping the PlayStation State of Play event that happened last week, because this took place the day the podcast went live, and there were, listen, by most accounts, PlayStation State of Play last week, which was about an hour long, was pretty damn good. State of Play is PlayStation's version of like a Nintendo Direct, and they have like little sprinkles of like the Xbox Developer Direct energy in there, where you'll sometimes get a little message here or there from a developer working on one of the games you just saw. But yeah, State of Play is usually, I think PlayStation generally has the worst showcases, and I don't mean that because PlayStation is my least favorite platform to play on. I just think they usually put on the worst showings. Doesn't mean they have bad games or bad console. I just think they're generally the worst at this. But I'll be honest, I watched this State of Play as well, and I thought it was pretty damn good. So, I mean, it wasn't amazing. It wasn't the best showing ever, but it was good. I think if it was an Xbox showing, people might criticize it a little more for just showing repeat looks at games we've seen a dozen times already. But, whatever. Aside from that, I think it was a pretty good showing. So let's get in and talk about all the things that are relevant to us as Xbox players. So we don't have to talk about God of War and things like that because it just doesn't matter to us. But the big one here, I think, is that Bungie's upcoming marathon, which we know is coming March 5th, is actually going to be getting a stress test or a server slam weekend. And it's actually next weekend. It begins next Thursday, February 26th, when next week's podcast goes live. And it runs to March 2nd, which is a Monday. So if you're on Xbox, PlayStation, or PC, you can play this server slam for free. It's basically a stress test, a server stress test for a long weekend. And players who engage on this free stress test will get special rewards and unlocks that they can then show off when the full game comes out 3 days after this stress test on March 5th. So really, in a way, it's like the game is releasing a week early when you think about it, because, I mean, this server slam it ends 3 days before the game comes out. Like, all right. It's basically like, hey, we're going to release the game for free for its first week, and then if there's any issues with the servers, you can't blame us because it's a free weekend, and then a week after that, the game will officially be out, and hopefully we got everything fine-tuned and ready to go. But I'm excited to try this out because Marathon is a game I'm going to buy sight unseen because it's Bungie, and Bungie's never steered me wrong, and I love these guys. However, if I'm just being completely honest, and all the many, many, many times we've seen Marathon trailers and gameplay, I just never am excited for this game. I do think it looks cool. I do think it looks interesting. And I will say the more we see it, the more I'm like, yeah, I'll be interested in giving it a try. But overall, like, if this wasn't a Bungie game, I don't think I'd really have much interest in it. I just know not to doubt Bungie because, I mean, these guys say what you will about Destiny and whatnot. I just think between Halo and the Destiny series, they pretty much only make excellent games, in my opinion. At the very least, in terms of the combat, the feel, the controls, it's just unbeatable. So I will be very curious to see if this is a game that grabs my attention, even a fraction as much as Halo or Destiny have. Because, I mean, I don't know. These guys have never really steered me wrong before, so why would this one be any different? But that is the first big notable announcement, I think, for Xbox. And then let's just talk about the rest of the games that were shown that are, kind of Xbox related or will be coming to Xbox, but maybe not immediately. That's the recurring theme here, is a lot of these games are not going to be on Xbox the day they come out. So anyway, we got Legacy of Kain Defiance Remastered. I actually think that one is coming to Xbox when it comes out, but this is a small one, so let's just knock it out real quick. It comes out March 3rd alongside a brand new 2D action game. Whatever. It's not anything we need to get into. They've been doing the Soul Reaver and all these Legacy of Kain and whatever remasters and carry forwards and stuff. So that's not surprising. We're getting another one of those. But the first game that really was of any note was actually the game they opened the show with, which was Kenna Bridge of Spirits is getting a sequel. What's it called again? It's called like Kenna and because nothing's ever 2 or 3 anymore. It's called Kenna Scars of Cosmora. So it's, Kenna Bridge of Spirits, for those who don't remember, it was a PlayStation 5 launch window game that came to Xbox like a year or 2 years ago. It was on PlayStation for a while before it came to Xbox, but it is finally on Xbox, and it's a game developed by a new team. It's the first game they've ever made, was that Kenna Bridge of Spirits. And what are they called again? What's the team called? Ember Lab. And these are guys that are clearly highly inspired by like PlayStation 2 era platformers and adventure games and stuff. So this game is very like Jak and Daxter kind of inspired. Just not in its aesthetic or anything, but in terms of it just being like a linear adventure platforming game. But with like a modern game's kind of like art style and sensibilities and stuff and touches. So the first game was seen as like to be pretty good, but like nothing amazing. But this one, they are touting how it will have more open world type things and traversal with like mounts and different exploration tasks. So they're going to try to open up the game and broaden it a little bit, which to me is kind of like a turnoff, not really an exciting thing. But this is actually a game that's been in my backlog for a little bit. I really wanted to play it when it first came out, but we had to wait for an Xbox version, and then it just became one of those things where like by the time it finally hit Xbox, I was just on to other things, because you can't wait 3 years and expect me to excitedly, just be pounding down the door waiting for your game to come to my platform. It's just not how it works. So I like to think I'll get to this game one day. But I thought the sequel looked cool. It's cool that they're making a sequel. This will be a PlayStation exclusive for a while. I don't know if Sony's financially invested in these games, but they are clearly heavily associated with PlayStation, so I assume another 2-3 years of this game being on PlayStation as an exclusive. Then we also got Death Stranding 2 news. So Death Stranding 2 came to PlayStation 5 last summer, but it is coming to PC in March. So that was, new news. If you're an Xbox fan, if you're a PC player, you can play Death Stranding 2 in March. Now, word on to when it will come to Xbox, I don't know. Death Stranding 1 didn't come to Xbox till pretty fucking recently. So on March 19th, it will come to PC. Xbox, who knows? But if you're an Xbox player and you are crossbreed with the PC market, as we all are becoming more and more these days, that might be your opportunity to play Death Stranding 2. Also, they showed another trailer for Control Resonant, which is just one of the games I'm most excited about this year. It's really weird seeing Remedy advertisements at PlayStation events, but this is what happens when you let the good ones get away, Xbox. You had Remedy for a long time, and you let this happen. But no surprise, the first Control was heavily associated with PlayStation from its announcement and its marketing and everything, and at events. So it's no surprise to see that the second one is also being heavily marketed and affiliated with PlayStation as well. But Control Resonant just looks absolutely fucking insane. The third-person action, the like traversing around like this twisted city where like you're walking on the street and then you jump onto a building and the camera shifts sideways and stuff, and it's got like this weird Inception dimensional perspective thing going on. It just looks super fucking badass. I can't wait for this game. So it was good to see another trailer. Nothing really interesting to talk about there. We're still waiting on a specific release date, but still scheduled for this year. And then this was a big one, which is that Metal Gear Solid 4 is finally going to come off of PS3. It's no longer going to be stranded exclusively on PlayStation 3 after all these years. I mean, Metal Gear Solid 4 came out in 2008, but finally this will be the last Metal Gear Solid game that is not available to play on an Xbox console, made available for Xbox consoles in the form of the Metal Gear Solid 2 Master Collection Volume 2. Volume 1 came out, 2 years ago? And it had remasters of 1, 2, and 3, and something else, I think. And then this version will have Peace Walker and Metal Gear Solid 4. So there'll be Volume 1 and Volume 2. And this is coming, I believe, later this year. And this should be day one with Xbox. There's this little Konami pop towards the middle or end of the show where just a bunch of Konami news got announced. And so this will be a good one for Xbox fans to finally get this long affiliated PlayStation 3 console exclusive Metal Gear Solid 4 released on an Xbox console. And that will be coming on August 29th. August 27th. So later this year. So pretty good get. Really, Metal Gear Solid 4 and Death Stranding 2, and then it's like, what Kojima games aren't on Xbox at that point, really, like in terms of like his big notable games. I'm not talking about stuff he did in the 90s or whatever, so that's pretty great. Anyway, let's move forward, guys. So next up, Castlevania Belmont's Curse was announced, which is a new Castlevania 2D game with this really awesome art style, being developed by the team behind Dead Cells. What are they called again? Motion Twin. So this will be coming to Xbox Series consoles and PC as well. They did not put out a release date, but they did say it will be in 2026. So sometime later this year. This game looks really cool. I'll be honest, guys, I'm not a Castlevania guy, not because I don't appreciate it or like it. I've never really given Castlevania a fair shake, so I can't speak to it. I'm sure I would like some Castlevania games, especially like Symphony of the Night and newer. Because I mean, Metroidvania, and I love Metroid games, and these games are clearly heavily inspirational for that genre that I do enjoy, and it's just I can't speak to it because I've never taken the time to play one of these games, but this one does look really good. I bet it will be probably designed to be a good jumping on point, since Castlevania as a video game franchise has been somewhat dormant for a decent amount of time. It's been over a decade, right? That Netflix show has happened in the past couple of years, and that's been pretty popular, but aside from that, I mean, it's been a generation or so since we really had Castlevania, so I think this would be a great way to get a new developer, a new take on this series, and make it a good entry point for new people, as well as a great return point for longtime fans of the series. Again, really cool to see Konami kind of coming out in full force and making some games again after so many years of them just kind of neglecting video games, and to partner with Motion Twin kind of makes sense because Motion Twin did do that Castlevania downloadable content for Dead Cells about 2 or 3 years ago. So it seems like that was kind of always a test bed for them to eventually make this game. So there's no real surprise that that's what's happening, but it is exciting news nonetheless, especially for Castlevania fans. As a Metroid fan who recently ate good past couple of years with some great new Metroid games, I'm happy for you Castlevania fans. Let's do it. All right, guys. Next up, they showed a cinematic trailer for the upcoming Saber Interactive developed John Wick video game. I thought this was a really cool cinematic trailer, but it was just that. So it's like it's no gameplay, not really a whole lot to go off of, but you can kind of imagine what a John Wick game is going to be. It's going to be a very violent third-person action game focused on lots of hand-to-hand physical combat stuff. But yeah, there's no release date for this game. There's no promise of anything in particular, but this will more than likely be an Xbox game when it comes out as well. So Xbox, PC, PlayStation. But it was cool to see that trailer just as a tonal piece, because John Wick's one of those movie franchises that kind of just seems obvious for gaming. So there's, whatever. And there have been other John Wick games, but this game looks like it's kind of teasing itself or promising to be like a really legitimate John Wick video game, not just like a licensed game in the John Wick universe. And so I think there's a little more excitement behind this, but whatever. This wasn't the biggest deal of the event at all. We kind of knew about this game a little bit, but we hadn't really seen much of it. But still, this is, I think, something that looks like it would be interesting based on the tone that was set forth through the cinematic trailer shown. But what else can we go off of right now? So Saber Interactive, they got a couple games in development right now, so not surprised they don't have too much to say on this one. Another really cool announcement that was kind of out of left field that was made here, and the Ubisoft's only announcement from the event, Digital Clips is remastering the original Rayman in the 30th anniversary edition of Rayman, which is out now. They kind of just were like, hey, announcing it, it's out, it's $20, it's on Xbox, it's on PC, it's on everything, it's on Switch and PlayStation, all that shit. But for $20, apparently it's pretty good. I never played the original Rayman, or I don't think I did at least. I know someone I knew as a child had it on PlayStation. I think it was one of my neighbors or something, or like back when McDonald's had like video game kiosks in the McPlay Place playground room. Dude, do you remember that shit? Was that just me? There was this one McDonald's off McFarland Parkway in Alpharetta, Georgia, that we used to go to all the time because my dad was a district manager for Blockbuster growing up, and one of his Blockbuster stores was like right next door to it. And we used to go to that McDonald's all the time. He'd take us on like a Saturday morning. We'd go there to get like breakfast sandwiches and stuff, and then we would just go to the giant ass playground, the huge fucking playground, and it was just massive, and you could like run around, go in the thing where you shake the little cage and you're in the race car, and they got the slides in the ball pit or whatever the fuck they had. But that's not the important part. The important part is in the corner they had a little gaming station where they had a PlayStation 1, a PlayStation 2, and a GameCube, and I think they have a Dreamcast, but I might be misremembering that. And I just remember like being like, this is so fucking sick. I can get orange juice at McDonald's and play the GameCube. And I'm pretty sure that's where I played a Rayman game at one point in time. I don't remember. Anyway, doesn't matter. I played Rayman 2. I've played Rayman Legends, but I've never played the original Rayman. So this would be kind of fun to go back and play, but I don't think now's the time just because, goddamn, it's already so busy this year with game releases. And I hear that the original Rayman's kind of a beat your ass hard kind of platformer. So maybe, I don't know. This might be a fun romp one day when it's on sale for $5 or something. But I just appreciate that they're putting this together. And Digital Clips usually do pretty great jobs at bringing old games forward and adding a lot of bonus content to kind of pay homage and respect the original game that they're reviving or preserving. So that's pretty cool. Really fun little announcement. Hey, Ubisoft doing something right? I'll take it. All right, next up is a reveal and gameplay trailer for Silent Hill Townfall, a new Silent Hill game, because Silent Hill's basically going annualized at this point. But a new Silent Hill game is coming out this year, and this one was confirmed to be a timed exclusive on PlayStation, or at least for now a PlayStation exclusive. Remember that Silent Hill 2 remake from a couple years ago is not on Xbox yet. But Silent Hill F, which came out last year, is on Xbox. So I don't know for certainty if this will come to Xbox, but I like to think at some point it will. But Silent Hill Townfall, it's actually a little bit of a unique setting. It says originally announced back in October 2022. Okay, I don't remember that being the case. Townfall is being published by Annapurna and Konami and is being developed by Scottish studio Screenburn. I really appreciate how they are working with different studios for all these games, as opposed to just having one or two teams do them all. So it's like Silent Hill is like this umbrella IP that houses all these different kinds of games underneath it, all these different kinds of horror experiences by this whole network of horror developers. I think that's pretty fucking cool. But it's played from a first person point of view, and it honestly looks like it's just like, what if Silent Hill did Final Fantasy or Resident Evil 7? But I don't know. I don't know the series well enough to speak to it like that, but it looked fine. We know it's going to be a PlayStation exclusive, but the question is for how long, and whatever, who knows? But I think that's really it. Most of it, everything else was like PlayStation only stuff, but some really cool stuff. Hey man, Death Stranding 2 on PC, that's notable. I'm excited about Marathon, get to play a little early. I think MGS4 coming to Xbox finally is a huge deal. New Castlevania is a pretty good deal. So overall, not a bad direct or state of play or whatever the fuck it is. Some good stuff for Xbox people to get excited about. But other than that, guys, we just kind of breeze through it because it's not like they announced Halo or anything for PlayStation, right? That would be crazy. But let's continue on with Sony a little bit, because they're facing something that I think obviously Xbox and Steam we know are facing, and Nintendo's facing, and everyone's facing. Even fucking digital camera companies are facing this shit right now, I guess. But Tom Warren over at The Verge tweeted out on Blue Sky, posted on Blue Sky, and said, the RAM crisis feels like it's going to ruin consumer electronics over the next decade. Bloomberg reports that Sony is considering pushing the PlayStation 6 to 2028 or even 2029. And then it clips this part from a Bloomberg article that I can't read the whole thing of because I don't subscribe to Bloomberg, but here's the excerpt that we can extract some info from, which says Sony Group Corp is now considering pushing back the debut of its next PlayStation console to 2028 or even 29. According to people familiar with the company's thinking, that would be a major upset to a carefully orchestrated strategy to sustain user engagement between hardware generations. Close rival Nintendo company, which contributed to a surplus demand in 2025 after its new Switch 2 console drove storage card purchases, is also contemplating raising the price of its device for 2026. People familiar with the plan said. Sony and Nintendo representatives didn't respond to requests for comment. So Nintendo is considering raising prices. PlayStation is considering not only pushing PlayStation 6 back, as we've been talking about for the past couple weeks, but pushing it back even further than 2028 into 2029, which is just absolutely absurd. And, compound that with what's going on right now with the Steam Deck and everything, and with Steam Machine and with the Valve Glass and all this stuff, or what's it called? Not Valve Glass, it's called like Valve Lens? I don't fucking care about the VR headset. I care about the Steam Deck and the machine. Anyway, listen, if all these companies that are, with the exception of Steam, Nintendo and PlayStation and whatnot, are dealing with these issues of pricing and components and supply shortages and lack of consumer demand and interest for a move forward into a new generation, then Xbox is dealing with it all, probably doubly so, because Microsoft, is a huge company with a lot of sway and buying power and stuff with these chip manufacturers and things like that, but they don't make hardware at the volume of a company like a Nintendo or a PlayStation because, let's be honest, Microsoft doesn't sell as many Xboxes as Sony sells PlayStations. So we know that Xbox wants to get their device out in 2027. That is the rumor. That is the idea, is that Xbox is going to try to be earlier to the punch, and we all agree that that's a cool idea. In a lot of ways, it's a fitting idea, but I just think the plan they have in place is so futile that it doesn't matter if you're first, and the ability to be first with the current pricing situation and parts situation in the market, it makes it almost impossible and cost prohibitive to do such a thing, because it's like, what do you need to price the next Xbox console at in order to justify getting it out the door in like 2027? So I know that's the plan, is that Xbox is going to probably announce the thing this year, release it next year, but at what cost, both literally and figuratively, and how could they really do it? And so I've just become more and more weary of this situation every day. I think we're about to end up in a slump, quote unquote, where it's like there's not going to be any option. We're all going to just be, stuck with PS5, Switch 2, Xbox Series consoles, and the Steam Deck. And if you want anything beyond that, it's like, I'm sorry, man, you're just going to have to wait an obnoxious amount of time, which isn't kind of unlike, the circumstances are totally different, but the situation isn't unlike what happened with the Generation 7 consoles, the PS3 and Xbox 360 and Wii, where that was a generation, especially for Xbox and PlayStation, where the console generation was really stressed out and belabored, because traditionally console generations would be about 5 to 6 years, but that console generation was 8 years, and the largest contributing factor, or the common wisdom around why that was just that the 2008-2009 financial crisis really extended out the lives of the PS3 and PS4, PS3 and Xbox 360, thank you, because the idea was that, consumers don't have discretionary spending. They don't want to upgrade their PlayStation or their Xbox right now because times are tough. People are laid off. Money's tight. The economy's not great. And so by the time the Xbox One and the PS4 finally came out in 2013, after 8 years of their prior consoles being out, there was so much pent-up demand. There's so much excitement that even though I think the Xbox One was technically the first time an Xbox console released where I was like, oh, this is a nice upgrade, but it's not as impressive as Xbox 360. It's not as impressive as like PS1 to PS2. Even though I felt like that was the first time that was really the case, it did still feel like a really exciting moment to go from Xbox 360 to Xbox One and just kind of hit the refresh button on console hardware. But I think because of, well, obviously the economy is shit and the job market is shit here, but it's not like 2008 financial crisis bad yet, or it doesn't at least feel that way, I should say. But in terms of, the part shortages and the pricing hikes on RAM and all these things that are affecting console manufacturer and R&D and getting these things out in the time originally desired, I just think it kind of creates a similar effect where it's like, hey, people are kind of happy to just stick with their current consoles, and you can get another 2 years out of these things, no problem. So don't feel the rush to get a PS6 or an Xbox PC out the door, or whatever the fuck it's going to be called, because I just don't think that's where the consumer base is currently. But then that also flies in the face of what Xbox is trying to do, which is be the first to the punch. So it's a little bit of a tricky situation for them, because 360 was also another time where they tried to beat Sony to the punch. They had the 360 out in 2005, whereas PlayStation had the PS3 out in 2006. So they had a full year on market and beat PlayStation that way, and it really helped bolster the presence and dominance of the Xbox 360 during that generation. But it just doesn't make sense to do that now, because it's like, what is the next Xbox? It's a PC that plays Xbox games, hopefully all of them, probably not, with some shitty Windows 11 UI that's completely underdeveloped, half-baked, and boring and buggy, and then you're going to charge $1,500 for it because it's technically a gaming PC that plays Xbox games, and it's just going to be like this whole mess of a console, and it's going to sell to an install base of like maybe 10 to 15 million people because Xbox is fucking dead as a console brand, and now it's extra niche because it's so expensive. It's like, what is the point of being first to the game? Like, what does that do, beating Sony to the new hardware, other than just give you a year or two on the market where all the attention for new gaming hardware is kind of on you? But even then, this isn't 2005 anymore. If Xbox releases a PC console, hybrid console, whatever, split thing, I don't think it's going to have the same splash as like when the Xbox 360 came out, because people's attention is just constantly being diverted to something new all the time. And when you're in last place and you try to make a splash, I don't think it has the same effect as if you're in first place and you try to make a splash, or if you're neck and neck with first place and you try to make a splash. So, it's like not many people give a shit if Google announces a new phone. They care when Apple announces a new phone. It just doesn't, well. So they have a little bit of that going against them, but so it's like it's expensive, it's bulky, the message is confusing. It's a platform where you're not supposed to make money off of it. It's going to be like a $1,500 gaming PC where Xbox makes no money. They sell it at a break-even cost or something, and then you buy it and you buy Steam games on it, so Xbox makes no money off the video games you play on the device. It's like, what is the point of doing any of this? And then they got to be there in 2027 to beat Sony to the punch. It just none of it really makes sense. So I just feel like, okay. It is disappointing in some aspect to think, because we've kind of set ourselves up with this expectation that this will be happening in the next year or two, but maybe it will be delayed and we'll have to wait another 2 to 3 years for this next Xbox. And that's just, really personally, that's just fine with me. I'm way more interested in Xbox pushing an actual Xbox handheld in more than anything. That's what I want. If they could get that out in the next year or two, that'd be fucking phenomenal. And then the Xbox, honestly, the new console, I don't give a shit. I'm good with my Series X. You can take another 4 years to put out a new console. I don't really give two shits about that. I'll buy it day one because I'm an idiot, and because I've always been that way with Xbox, I'll be there day one. But I don't think it feels even remotely necessary to move forward yet. So whatever. And then speaking of Xbox hardware, so Asus has increased the price of the Xbox ROG Ally in Japan by nearly $200. Now, this hasn't been officially confirmed, but Otaku Soken, some outlet, or sorry, some market, a Japanese website where you can purchase things, is selling the standard ROG Xbox Ally for 169,000 yen, up from its original 90,000 yen price tag. So that's an increase of what the hell? That's insane. That doesn't make sense. Oh, sorry. Here we go. I'm comparing the two models incorrectly. The higher end Xbox Ally X in Japan is traditionally sold for around 140,000 yen, but on this website it's currently being sold for 170,000, which is essentially like going from $900 to $1,100 more or less in terms of cost. So the logic is, or the thought is, that the similar thing will kind of happen to the lower end model, the regular ROG Ally Xbox thing, where it will go from about $600 in Japan, or about 90,000 yen, up to about maybe $800, $800 or $900. So this is a pretty big price bump and a pretty disappointing thing to learn. Unfortunately, this is just this one retailer in Japan, and nothing's been officially confirmed. But if this continues, I mean, it might be that the Xbox Ally X is getting a price increase at a time where nobody gives a shit about this device because it's not an Xbox. It's objectively not a fucking Xbox. It is a Windows 11 gaming PC tablet device that can access Xbox cloud streaming and things like that, but it is not an Xbox by any means. So that's fucking shitty. And one of my predictions for this year was that the ROG Ally was actually going to get multiple price cuts just because of how low demand would be, but here we are, possibly going in just the opposite direction. So again, it's like with things like this happening, it's like, why would we push for the next generation of hardware when this is the situation you're in right now? It just doesn't seem like a good environment and situation to be putting out hardware. And then to top it all off, and this is the last part before we really wrap up this story, it's that this is something I've been kind of facing all the past week or two, because I'm trying to get one of these right now. But the Steam Deck is currently out of stock from Steam's store page, according to Valve, or Valve has confirmed. So the Steam Deck is a device you buy from Steam. You buy it direct from them. You don't buy it at like Walmart or Best Buy or whatever. Users have been reporting the past couple of weeks that the Steam Decks have been sold out. So there are three models of the Steam Deck. There's the LCD model, which they said recently last year, once this thing sells out, it's sold out for good. We're producing it anymore. We're not manufacturing any more of these. And so that one sold out a while ago, and it wasn't a huge deal or a huge surprise. And then you were left with only two other options, which is the two OLED models, the one with like 500 gigs or the one with a terabyte of storage. And Then the 512 terabyte or gigabyte LED model sold out about a week or two ago. And I was like, oh shit. And then only the most expensive version was left in the store. And then that sold out. And now it's been over a full week with all models of the Steam Deck sold out. In the United States, you can't buy a Steam Deck. You can't buy one new from Steam. You can't buy a refurbished one from Steam because the refurbs are all sold out. And there's no other retailers really to buy them from in the States, you know, through like formal channels. I don't want to hear someone be like, well, actually, Justin, if you go onto this AliExpress, shut up, dude. So yeah, you have to go like bum one off of fucking eBay if you want to get a Steam Deck. So, and Steam's talking about how like they're like, hey, we're struggling. We were supposed to have the Steam machine and all that stuff announced with the price point, and it was supposed to be out around this time, but that's all kind of put on hold. And they're saying, hey, we're still going to release it in the first half of the year, but we just aren't ready to talk about the pricing yet. Plus, the Steam Deck is out of stock. So it's like, think about it. I mean, like, listen, the Steam Deck is selling really well for what it is, a niche device from a smaller gaming company that they sells direct to consumer and doesn't really advertise. Like, this is impressive, but the Steam Deck is not a device that is manufactured and sold on a volume of like fucking iPhones or PlayStations. So naturally, a company like Valve has less bargaining power at the table when it comes to like buying components like RAM during this shortage. So that's a huge part of it, is that their costs have probably been skyrocketed up to the high heavens. And you can imagine that when Steam Deck comes back into stock in the next month or two, maybe, that its price goes up $100-$150 because prices are increasing and they clearly don't have stock available right now. So this is a real thing that could be happening, and at a perfect time where I'm planning on getting a Steam Deck. I've been saving for one the past couple of weeks, and I've been kind of more or less leaning towards like, yeah, I'm definitely going to get one soon. And then of course they go out of fucking stock, and now everyone on the internet's like, what the hell? I was going to buy a Steam Deck. Well, apparently everyone else was too. But yeah, I mean, it's just not a good time. Like, do I want Xbox to make an actual Xbox handheld? Yeah, I'd buy that thing over a Steam Deck in a heartbeat. But Xbox is refusing to make that, even though Windows Central has reports that say they're still gonna try and make that. I'll fucking believe it when I see it. I'm not really holding my breath on that. But man, it's dark times, man. They're all suffering. Nintendo's talking about how they don't plan on increasing prices, but a lot of reports and a lot of analysts are saying Nintendo will have to raise the price of the Nintendo Switch 2 as they burn through their existing stock later this year. So like that's like kind of one of those things where Nintendo's being a little stingy about it, but people are saying like, no, it's going to happen. We're pretty confident. So Nintendo's pricing could be going up. PlayStation and Xbox's prices have gone up, and now we might be seeing the fucking knockoff, not an Xbox gaming device, going up in price, possibly in other places, but definitely Japan. And Steam Deck's out of stock, and the Steam Machine can't get a release date. It's a fucking mess. Why would you want to be the first one to the party? It makes perfect sense that a company like PlayStation's like, yeah, we might just delay the PS6 for a couple years. We just gotta wait for this AI bubble to fucking pop and for a pedophile president to actually do something about something for once in the fucking world. But as long as the AI money laundering scam keeps continuing in the tech industry, we all have to keep suffering as the things we actually give a shit about become less and less attainable and more out of reach, so that fucking Mark Zuckerberg can be a fucking little rodent of a little fucking robot man and try to convince you that the metaverse is where you and your fucking third wife are going to meet. All right, what are we doing? Okay, here we go. Battlefield 6. Let's talk about something positive. So, as of yesterday, Battlefield 6 Season 2 is officially out. And I just want to talk about this because, fuck you, I'm excited about Battlefield, so it's news to me. But yeah, Season 1 was delayed by an extra month. Battlefield Studios was citing that they needed more development time, things weren't ready, whatever. Fans have been really, really pissy about how slow Battlefield 6 content has been, that the seasons aren't happening fast enough, that we're not getting enough maps each season, that we're not getting enough content and updates and patches and things like that. And so people have been really upset. And people have been highly criticizing what's been teased for Season 2. But now Season 2 is here, and with it, you get new weapons, new vehicles, new equipment, and new limited time modes and things like that. But the big thing is a new map called Contaminated, which is out now. It's one of their bigger maps for this game. It's, not the biggest map by Battlefield standards, but by Battlefield 6 standards, it's one of the larger maps, and it's here. and I'll talk about it in just a minute, but Season 2 will then come with a second map on March 17th, about 1 week from now, or 1 month from now, rather. And that new map will be called Hagental Base, which will be a more infantry-only mode, so it'll be like one of the smaller maps, unfortunately, but, unfortunately for others, for me, it'll be fun because I play those modes too, but anyway, and then we'll get more weapons and more equipment and a dirt bike and things like that later on when that part of the season comes out, so really, we're getting 2 maps and then some more gadgets and guns, over the course of the next, 3 months really with Season 2, and people are really up in arms about how there's not more content and that the rollout is too slow. And listen, man, here's the thing, it's I kind of see it from multiple perspectives, because as someone who's really loving Battlefield 6, this is kind of my take on it, is EA promised Battlefield 6 to be a live service game. Games like Call of Duty and Fortnite have set a very firm and very clear expectation for most people as to what it means for a multiplayer shooter match game kind of fucking play with your buddies thing, to be a seasonal game, to be a live service game. And so it's hard when you see, Call of Duty Black Ops 7 came out almost a month after Battlefield 6 and reached Season 2 a month before Battlefield 6. They're moving and shaking faster. They've already added 10 maps to the game in the handful of months that Black Ops 7 has been out, and that's kind of par for the course for Call of Duty for the most part. They just always have content churning, and every fucking day I go downstairs and my girlfriend's playing Fortnite and the game's totally different. One day it's today's all about Pillsbury. The Pillsbury Doughboys on the battle bus and we're all gonna fight on Doe Mountain. And then the next day you go down there and now it's fucking Nicki Minaj island, and you gotta bust her out of prison and shoot up a bunch of bad bitches. It's okay, cool, it's a different game every fucking time I come down here. And then they're oh look, Marshmallow's back in the store. And so that's the Fortnite thing, is it's constantly, dude, I'm always impressed with every 5 fucking seconds they got a new event, a new thing, and it's these art assets can't be easy. It's just constantly be churning out. It's a fucking sweatshop, Fortnite is, and don't get me wrong about it. Call of Duty 2, it is a goddamn content sweatshop, the way these games are fucking made and sustained. And so I'm of two minds, because it can be done. Games like Fortnite and Call of Duty prove it can be done, and they do it kind of with fucking excellence, with excellent execution. I have my criticisms of these games, but there's no doubt that they fucking nail, setting out to have this seasonal content roadmap, sticking to a plan and executing on it. And Battlefield Studios and DICE, or EA rather, have completely bombed and failed at doing the similar thing, because we're, October, so November, December, January, February, we're 4.5 months removed from the release of Battlefield 6, and we really have only gotten we've gotten 3 maps, 4 maps announced, 3 maps released in that 4.5 months. And 2 of them were a month after the game came out, and then 1 of them was this week. And so it's there have been lots of content droughts, so to speak. But I will say, as someone who was born and raised into the Halo 2 and fucking Call of Duty Modern Warfare and Battlefield Bad Company era of shooters, someone who's raised in that era of shooters, to me, I fucking love this shit, because I've been playing this contaminated map. In fact, last night I came home from work and I was supposed to be a good boy and do this and do that, and I really just fucking played Battlefield 6 because I was really excited about the new map. And here's what I'm getting at, is it's Contaminated is a really fucking good map. Every time I turn on Call of Duty, they're here's 7 more maps, and you haven't played these other 7 maps. In fact, because you haven't played Call of Duty in 2 weeks, there are new maps that have been released in this game, put into rotation, and then pulled out of rotation in favor of new maps. Maps that you haven't played, and you statistically will never play, because you didn't play Call of Duty every goddamn day for the past month. And I get punished for having a fucking life, and for not playing Call of Duty every waking hour of my life. But Battlefield is a game where I can take a couple of weeks off, because right now I'm playing this other game and I don't really want to play Battlefield, but I'll come back to it. And then I come back to it and I'm what did I miss? And they're oh, not much. we got a new map here. It's pretty good. You want to try it? I'm like, sure, let me try it. And Contaminated is a really good map. It's not a Call of Duty map where it's 30 fucking square feet and you just hold down the trigger and shoot people in the face and respawn every 2 seconds. It's a Battlefield map, so it's large. It's not the largest Battlefield map, but it's large and it's handcrafted and it's tuned for everything. It's tuned for sniping. It's tuned for tanks. It's tuned for helicopters. It's tuned for running gun. It's tuned for people who are anti-vehicle and trying to take down things, and people playing in the trenches, and people running and gunning, and people playing support roles, and all these different things. And it's tuned for everything. And you got mountains, and you got fucking caves, and you got trenches, and you got like these like interior facility door rooms and things like that. You get all these variety of places in this large map, and I think this map is really well constructed. Now, I'll be honest, I got my fucking ass kicked the couple of matches I got to play. I'm rusty on this game, even though I've been playing it a lot lately, so that sucked. The game has a lot of new tuning updates. Apparently, people are pretty satisfied with the way they've slowed down the gameplay just a touch and retooled some of the weapons and things like that, and people seem to be relatively happy with how those changes have been made. But overall, man, I'm really enjoying Season 6 so far. And if there's anything I could be doing right now instead of podcasting right now, it'd be playing more of Season 6. It's good. It's really good. So I just want to give Battlefield that shout out, because while there is that one side of the spectrum where it's like, well, they're failing at being a live service, there's barely any maps. We only got whatever, blah, 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 blah. It's been 4 months. We've only gotten 3 maps. I think that's a totally valid criticism, because EA have called this game a live service game. And by the definition of live service and comparing it to its direct competitors, other live service games that attempt to do what this game does, it's falling behind and it's failing. But as someone who grew up playing fucking, like Half-Life 2 Deathmatch and Halo and all these other things, it's like, I appreciate this game because I don't need, my brain isn't so fucking TikTok addled, like YouTube short ridden that I can't enjoy Battlefield 6 for more than 2 weeks without a new map. I enjoy Battlefield 6 even if I'm playing the same 7 or 8 maps from a couple months ago. And this new map is really, really good. And I feel like what we're getting here is a quality over quantity thing. And so I want to be careful, because like I don't want to excuse false promises. If they say we're going to have a handful of new maps every 2 months and everything, it's going to be awesome, we're going to really support this game. It's like, well, then put your fucking weight behind that promise and follow through, But at the same time, as someone who is a consumer of games and a liver of a fucking real life where I have other obligations outside of keeping up with live service content, I find that, for my taste and in my opinion, Battlefield 6's content rollout is like perfect, because it really suits my work-life balance and my free time situation. And I just think it's also really healthy and realistic. It's like kind of okay to think about like, oh yeah, they'll sell the game for $70. It will come with 6 to 8 maps on day one. And then every 2 months we'll get a map, and then we'll get a total of like 6 or 7 additional maps over the course of the game's lifespan. And then that will be a pretty fucking robust Battlefield game, because, Battlefield's mostly larger maps and they're handcrafted and they're really all like kind of finely tuned and everything like that. Like, that'd be cool. Like a dozen maps over the course of a year by getting a new map every month or two. I'm like, sign me up. Battlefield 6 is an excellent game. What a great way to support this game over the course of a year. But to a lot of other people, they're like, no fucking way, man. That's not good enough. By the time 1 year is up, I expect this game to have 26 maps, and I want to have played a fucking event for every major holiday. You better believe I want the Easter Bunny's like weekly event showdown in April, followed by the fucking Stop Asian Hate event in May, where I don't fucking know. You go and fucking get Chinese takeout or something. I don't know what it is. Like, Call of Duty's always got some bullshit. There's always some bullshit. Every time I log into Call of Duty, they're like, have you seen Fallout Season 2 yet? I'm like, no, I want to play Call of Duty. Leave me the fuck alone. So I just personally think Battlefield is handling it in a way that really works for me, and so I can't be super critical, but I do see the criticism. I do see how people are frustrated. So it's not that there's a right or wrong answer. It's a good thing or it's a bad thing. It's a couple things. And I'm all for holding companies accountable for the things they say they're going to do and the promises they make. But I just think what we've gotten and the way in which we're getting it, to me, works pretty good. That's all I'm saying. But anyway, that's the Battlefield 6 situation. Guys, let's start to wrap up the news. Got a couple sad ones to round us out, really. But yeah, so let's start with this one from VGC. Or actually, no. We got one more before we get to that. Sorry. So this is about Sega. Sega says that their recent releases haven't performed as well as they expected, citing Sonic Rumble in particular. In their latest Q3 financial report covering the period from October to December of last year, parent company Sega Sammy says new game releases during this period, both full price and free-to-play, didn't meet sales expectations, and added that the sales of older games weren't as strong as they'd hoped. In this section of its report covering the consumer entertainment sector, Sega noted that in terms of full-price games, both new titles and repeat sales performed below expectations. As for free-to-play, 2 titles underperformed from expectations, according to Sega, while existing titles performed as expected. While Sega didn't specify exactly which full-price games had performed under expectations, they did mention that only 2 full-price games released during Q3. They did only put out 2 full-price games during Q3, which were Football Manager 2026 on the Switch 2, or in general, and then the Switch 2 version of Persona 3 Reload. So if they're not happy with the sales performance of full-price games, it's probably those 2. The company did not explicitly name Football Manager 26 as having underperformed, but in terms of its free-to-play content, they did specifically cite Sonic Rumble for mobile as a game that didn't perform as well as it had hoped, falling short of their various KPIs and whatever. But later in the report, it listed its challenges and actions for the future, saying that there was a high volatility in sales and uncertainty in investing money, and aging, and again citing that stagnant growth in sales of major full game titles, underperformance of new free-to-play titles, and quality issues. However, it's not all bad news for Sega, because they do plan to reveal 4 new games for its most important IP by the end of March 2027. So in the next 12 months, essentially, they plan to announce 4 new games from their most important IP. So Sega also noted that they had initiatives during that report for its next fiscal year to maximize potential through enhancement of sales capabilities, and to continue to expand transmedia business by using IP in other media such as film and TV, whatever that just basically means, a Sonic movie and a Yakuza Amazon show or whatever platform it's going on. I think it was Amazon. But, that show already happened. God damn, I can't keep up. While Sega didn't give any further information on which series it was referring to with its 4 new major titles, it suggests it will likely be releasing a high-budget Sonic game during this period, which the rumors are that there will be a high-budget Sonic game, a next main entry in the Sonic series this fall. I don't know how that will work going up against GTA 6, but everything is a competitor to GTA 6, so you want to be careful there. But I'm very, very excited for another Sonic game, because it's been since 2022, so this fall will be 4 years, so it is time for the next mainline Sonic game, and I really liked Sonic Frontiers, so I'm very much looking forward to what happens next. The rumors are that it will be a game like Sonic Frontiers, like a similar playstyle, but it'll take place in like an open world city environment, which would be stop. That would just be too fucking much for me. That would be too cool. The rumors also suggest that it will have a lot of Shadow the Hedgehog in it as well, because he's been a character with a lot of renewed interest recently. So anyway, that's where Sega's at. Games that they have announced that don't have release dates currently are Persona 4 Revival, Stranger Than Heaven, Total War Warhammer 40,000, and Total War Medieval 3. So we'll see. We also know that they're working on a new Crazy Taxi, a new Golden Axe, a new Jet Set Radio, a new Streets of Rage, Virtua Fighter. So we know that those are also in development. We got Shinobi last year as part of that slew of games. Anyway, now let's talk about High Guard for a minute. I didn't realize we have so much news here. Let's talk about High Guard for a moment. So we talked last week about how a lot of people had been laid off following the game's real letdown in performance in the month that it's been out. At its peak, it had 100,000 concurrent players on Steam, which is pretty good. But it's currently, as of like this past week, usually averaging around 5,000 players or so on Steam at a time, which is really, really anemic and really, really difficult to swallow. So, however, a designer who was laid off from the team last week claimed that most of the team had been laid off, and that developer Wildlight subsequently confirmed that the layoffs were to keep the core group of developers continuing to innovate and support the game. But one of the laid off team members, tech artist Joe Sobel, has now taken to Twitter to criticize the way that the game has been treated by players after the initial reveal, suggesting that it played a larger part in the game's current situation. Sobel claimed that all the feedback that the team had received prior to the game's reveal, even from unbiased sources, was widely positive, and alleged comments such as "there's no way that this will flop, this has mainstream hit written all over it, and if there's one project that nobody in the industry is worried about, it's yours, or worry about failing, it's yours." After the reveal of the Game Awards, however, Sobel says that it was all downhill from there, claiming that YouTubers posting rage bait content and played a large role in the negativity that was driven around this game. He said, quote, "Content creators love to point out the bias in folks who give positive previews after being flown out for an event, but ignoring the fact that when their negative leaning content gets 10 times the engagement of the positive, they've got just as much incentive to lean into the disingenuous direction, whether consciously or not," he wrote. I think there is a lot of validity and a lot of truth to that statement. And I do think there are a lot of like TikTokers, YouTubers, content creators out there who have a lot of sway and a lot of power with their voice and their platform. And these people don't take it seriously and they just lean into the thing that draws clicks. Like, I'll give you an example. There was a YouTuber that I kind of was hate watching. And I don't usually do this. This is a very unique exception to the rule for me. But I started watching this guy around the time Call of Duty Vanguard came out. And his name is Narrow Cinema. And he's a Call of Duty YouTuber. And this dude he's just a salty little fucking bitch. All he does is complain. And when I first started watching him, I kind of liked watching him because the way his voice sounds reminded me of my old friend Kevin from Xbox that I used to play with. We met over Xbox Live and we used to play together all the time. And this guy's voice kind of reminded me of Kevin. So I was like, it's kind of comforting to listen to this YouTuber just talk about Call of Duty. And he sounds like my old buddy from back in the day, because that's what me and my old buddy used to do. We'd play Call of Duty together on Xbox. So I started listening to him a lot, and I was like, he's so negative because Call of Duty Vanguard is just the worst Call of Duty in a long time, and everyone kind of hates it. And then I kept listening to him over the years, and I was like, dude, you're just kind of always so fucking negative. And then about a year ago, I reached a point where I was like, I have to unsubscribe and mute your channel, because what the guy does is, no matter what happens, whether it's good or bad, he always finds a way to twist everything into negativity because it drives engagement for his videos, and it's really disappointing. Like, he's been bitching for like 5 years I watched this guy. All he ever did was bitch about how he wants skill-based matchmaking removed or reduced in Call of Duty, and then last year Activision literally does that for Black Ops 7, and he just starts ignoring it and shitting on other things and stuff. It's like, no, man, come on, dude. And then you look at the Call of Duty fan base and how incredibly toxic it is and how incredibly negative and miserable those fucking people are all the time. It's like, yeah, no wonder, because it's like IGN, 10 years ago, the joke was like, IGN's like, oh, the new Call of Duty is 10 out of 10. We got paid to say that, even though that's not true. And then everyone would rag on IGN. They'd be like, you give every game a 9, you give every game an 8. Oh, you always give everything a good review. And nowadays everything's like, oh yeah, I watched this content creator and he said this and everything sucks and this game's bullshit and this game's ass. It's like, I have a coworker who's like, watches Twitch and YouTube, but he's not much of a gamer, but he's like kind of adjacently got a little bit of a finger on the pulse, right? And I remember in around October when Battlefield was coming out, I was like, oh, I can't wait for fucking Battlefield. I'm so excited for Battlefield. He's like, oh, you're going to play Battlefield? That game's sick. I'm like, oh, you played the beta? You like it? And he was like, no, but it's sick. I've seen it. And I was like, oh, cool. He's like, yeah. You play it on PC or PlayStation? I was like, oh, I'm playing on a little bit on Xbox, a little bit on PlayStation. Oh, Xbox sucks. Xbox has no games. Xbox is stupid. And then a few weeks later, he's like, bro, you still playing Battlefield 6? I'm like, yeah, man. Actually, I'm really excited for Black Ops 7. It's about to come out, dude. Really looking forward to it. He's like, oh, Black Ops 7, that game's trash. That game's the worst Call of Duty ever. I'm like, it's not even out, man. How the fuck do you know that? He's like, oh, you're playing Call of Duty on Xbox. That game's trash. I'm like, this is kind of the way people are. It's like there's either people who are entirely 1000% disconnected and they just play Call of Duty every year because it's Call of Duty, or they're like, I don't even play the fucking game. I just have opinions because I watch TikTok and YouTube and people say things and then I adopt those opinions as my own and now I'm outraged, and they just spread the negativity. But it's like last year, and I want to use Call of Duty as this example. Last year, Activision literally capitulated in the biggest way on Call of Duty. After all the Black Ops 7 hate that game got, some deserved, some undeserved, in my opinion, as someone who played the game extensively. And it was like, okay, we're reducing skill-based matchmaking. We're creating a new playlist where we are not going to focus on skill-based matchmaking. We're going to reduce our emphasis and focus on all these ridiculous, heinous skins that don't look like they fit in the Black Ops aesthetic or the Black Ops universe. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. We're going to focus on having the most maps that we've ever had at launch so that you guys can't complain about content drought and all these things, right? They do all these fucking things. And what do the people do? Oh, the game's ass, the game's shit, this is what sucks about it. If they fix this problem, I'll just focus on that problem. It's like, dude, oh my God. And it got to the point where like Black Ops 7's actually like financially doing really poor for a Call of Duty game just because all the overwhelming hate. Now listen, there's plenty of hate to go around for Black Ops 7. That game has an offensively horrible campaign. Don't get me wrong. But its multiplayer is really fucking good. And that endgame mode is really fun and unique. And that zombies mode is pretty solid. So like what the parts of Call of Duty that actually matter are all pretty great in this game. But unfortunately, the game is entirely tainted because the conversation. And so I see that stuff with High Guard. And I'm kind of confused because it's like, well, how much does, the Game Awards is viewed by many millions of people. It's the biggest gaming event of the year. But how big is all the people in the games industry, in the games media and the gaming hardcore fans? How representative is that group of people relative to the entire population of people that follow and engage with and play video games? It's like relatively small, right? So it's like, how could a game like High Guard really have been so catastrophically affected by that reaction to the Game Awards reveal back in December? But I kind of see how that's the case, because that's kind of what fucking happens. It's like, this game exists. What do I think of this game? And it's just, here's what the internet has told you to believe. So I wouldn't really be entirely surprised if this game, if we could see the alternate timeline where this game was just kind of shadow dropped and it did way better because there wasn't a month and a half of opportunity for people to point and laugh and make fun of this game before it came out. And I just can't help but wonder that, because it just does seem like, unfortunately, the case is now the online talking points in the conversation, the echo chambers and in the niche groups and everything. Unfortunately, it's like a lot of that noise has like kind of gone out into the world. And I know it's like, it feels like we kind of come this weird full circle where 10 years ago, people were like, oh my God, people say these insane things online. I can't believe the things that are happening. And during a lot of the 2016 election cycle stuff, it was just a lot of like crazy shit was getting thrown out there. And everyone was like, I guess everyone's a crazy fucking ridiculous fool based on what I see on the internet. And then a few years after that, we kind of reached this point, like 2018, 2019, where it was like, hey guys, the internet's not real life. People live in these little bubbles and they have these little echo chambers, and then they have their algorithms feeding them certain things, and like that's their feed, that's their internet, that's their world. That's not the real world. You go out into the real world, people aren't saying the things you're seeing online. People aren't doing the things you're seeing online, because that's not the real world. But now I feel like you go like 5 years further down into like where we are today, and it's, I don't know, man. I kind of feel like what you see and hear on the internet is kind of what you see and hear in real life a little bit. The more and more people become dependent on their phones and their internet and their feeds and their algorithms to tell them and everything that's going on and what to think and how to react to every consumer product and what's happening in the news and what side to take in every conflict and what opinion to have about every politician. It's like, I kind of feel like the internet severely influences everyone's perspective on that, and then in turn that becomes the real world. And I wonder if that's a little bit of what we're seeing here, where it's like, traditionally it's like, okay, the game was revealed, people laughed at it, they made fun of it, whatever, but if the game's good, people are going to play it. That's not necessarily true anymore. It's like, this game could have been great, but it doesn't matter. The internet decided it's not worthy of living, and the only thing people can't stand is to be on the wrong side of the conversation or the social optics. So it's like, listen, if the internet dogmatic thing says that High Guard is ass, then it's ass. It doesn't matter if it's fun. It doesn't matter if 100,000 people played it. It doesn't matter if the review score was trending in a better direction after a couple weeks. If people say it's bad, it's bad. But then conversely, I don't know, its player base was dropping. Maybe that was just because people weren't engaged with it. I don't know. But I just think that was something interesting worth saying. All right, guys, let's move forward. Call of Duty Warzone Mobile is officially shutting down in May. Wait, is that right? Yeah, Yeah, in May 2025, they pulled it from the App Store. Okay, it will officially shut down on April 17th. I don't think anyone cares about this, but whatever. I'm noting it. Modern Warfare or Warzone, whatever fucking on iPhone is going away. Bye. Sorry. All right, now we can wrap up. We got these two really sad stories. So let's start off here with both written up from VGC. That first one, Hideki Sato, the designer behind virtually every Sega console and the company's former president, has died at the age of 77. Japanese game outlet Beep21 reports that Sato passed away this weekend. Sato and his R&D team were responsible for the creation of Sega's arcade and home console hardware, including Master System, Genesis, Mega Drive, Saturn, and Dreamcast. From Sega, this is on February 16th, Sega released the following statement regarding his passing. They say, "We're deeply saddened to learn about the passing of Hideki Sato, who served as president of Sega from 2001 to 2003, and Sega would like to offer its condolences to his family and friends. Starting his career with the development of the arcade machines, Mr. Sato was instrumental in the development of iconic home consoles, including the SG-100, SC-3000, Mega Drive, Genesis, and Saturn and Dreamcast. His leadership helped lay the foundation for Sega, and his contributions had a significant and lasting impact on the entire gaming industry. We will always remember his contributions to our company, and all of us at Sega extend our deepest condolences as we honor his memory." The engineer joined Sega in 1971, and he was the company's acting president between 01 to 03, but he left the company in 2008. So really sad, obviously a very important figure in the games industry. Sega is a company I always have a really soft spot for. In a way, I always mention how Sega hardware and the Sega consoles were kind of the precursor to Xbox, and Xbox is in a lot of ways the spiritual successor. So in a large way, there's a lot of DNA. If you're a kid who's like my age or a little older, and you saw that transition from like Dreamcast to Xbox, there's a lot of DNA between those consoles. There's a lot of Sega Dreamcast in the original Xbox, and I think there's a lot of Sega in the spirit of Sega's hardware business in Xbox, especially the Xbox that's obsessed with like power, the most powerful console ever made, the best games. We're always second. Everyone always prefers PlayStation's games or Nintendo's games to our games, but we're always here being loud with really good marketing and trying to have like the edgy, cool stuff. We got the games with the guns. We got the games with the heroes. We got the games with the graphics. That's always been Xbox. I feel like Xbox in so many ways is the reincarnation of Sega hardware. So it's cool. I feel like there's a lot of kindred spirit between the hardware that Mr. Sato helped bring to light, and how that legacy lived on for us as Xbox players. But more importantly, just his contributions to the world and in the art form and the entertainment space. Because obviously, in particular, the Sega Genesis and the Sega Dreamcast, mostly the Sega Genesis, but these are iconic consoles. These are consoles everyone knows, everyone loves, and everyone has some form of experience with. And so, guys made a huge lasting impact. And it's just 77's not young, but at 77, you hope you still got like a decade or so left in you, a decade, maybe 15 years left. So it's sad to see, and hopefully his family are getting the proper time to mourn, and they have their chance to say goodbye, and that they're doing well in their time of need. So it's always unfortunate. Next up, we got another one, unfortunately, here, but Shutao Aida, the veteran game developer best known for his work on the Castlevania and Bloodstained series, has passed away at the young age of 52. Aida was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer in September of 2024, and he died February 10th this month as a result of the illness. A statement from Aida's family was posted on Twitter, officially confirming his death. And in the final personal message that he posted on Twitter about 11 days before his passing, Aida wrote, It seems that the limit is near. I can feel myself growing weaker day by day. Please love Bloodstained 2, which will be released in the future, and the games that I made. Aida worked at Konami from 1996 to 2015, mainly as a programmer at first. In the early 2000s, he moved to the Castlevania series, working working as enemy programmer and system and player programmer on Game Boy Advance Castlevania title Aria of Sorrow. He went on to work as a programmer on numerous Castlevania games, as well as Metal Gear Solid 5 Ground Zeroes and MGS5 The Phantom Pain, where he was lead programmer and lead enemy programmer. When Castlevania series producer Koji Igarashi left Konami in 2014 and co-founded the new studio Art Play, Aida joined him to work on Bloodstained Ritual of the Night, where he served as designer and director while Igarashi produced. The game then was released in 2019 to favorable reviews, and a prequel, Bloodstained The Scarlet Engagement, was previously announced for a 2026 release date and will be released posthumously. So really sad. 52's super young. And this has been a sad one because he's been pretty public about his illness and about his cancer fight. So to just see it go in this direction, it's bullshit. It's sad to see. And it's just, I don't know, it's sickening. The cancer ones always really fucking get me because it's like, oh, we could probably solve this shit. We just choose not to every day. We just allow legendary people to just die every fucking day because we choose not to do anything about it. But nonetheless, here in the current real world, we just acknowledge that the dude fought. I'm sure he got good medical attention, but there's just only so much we can all do at the end of the day. We're all, as just everyday humans, kind of just put in the situations we're put in, and this was the luck of the draw. Get to have these amazing contributions to some of the most beloved video games, and then life takes you at 52. So hopefully his family, same thing, family doing well, mourning, getting through it. Not that's something you get through, but you hope that it's like, if you're going to go through something as horrible as losing a loved one, that the circumstances surrounding it at least allowed you to say a proper goodbye and say what you need to say and have those last memories, so that at least you can find some peace in all that one day. But yeah, man, just lots of notable people in the games industry passing lately. It's sad shit. All right, guys, let's wrap up real quick. We got some Game Pass updates here before we get into what I've been playing and all that. If you're a Game Pass subscriber on Ultimate or PC, available today, Aerial Knights Drop Shot is available. Day 1 Game Pass. Avatar Frontiers of Pandora is now on Game Pass Ultimate and PC. Avowed is now on Game Pass Premium as it's a year old. Death Howl is on Game Pass Ultimate and Premium. EA Sports College Football 26 and The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt are now in Game Pass Ultimate. Coming soon, so if you're a Game Pass subscriber of the Ultimate tier or PC, TCG Card Shop Simulator, which I almost bought, it's like $5 on Steam right now, is coming on February 24th. On the 25th, Dice A Million will come to Game Pass PC, available day 1. Towerborn, which is leaving game preview and going into full release, will come to Cloud Console and PC on Ultimate, Premium, and PC Game Pass on February 26th. On March 3rd, Final Fantasy III comes to Game Pass, and Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, pretty big get, comes to Cloud Console and PC through Premium, PC, and Ultimate on March 3rd. So those are the games you're getting this month. Now we're losing a few more. Monster Train Expedition, a Mud Runner game, Injustice 2, and Middle-earth Shadow of War all leave Game Pass on the 28th of February. So buy them or play them now before they're gone, because if you buy them before they leave, you get 20% off. So just whatever you gotta do, whatever. That's your business. But guys, I'm going to take a quick water break, and then I'm going to come back and we'll talk about the games I've been playing and the comments and all that, and we'll wrap things up. All right, guys, let's talk about the games I've been playing. But before I can tell you about the games I've been playing this week, I want to real quick tell you about what it is I've been eating. And that is, I got a good one, baby. Don't you worry about that. Fucking Dutch Bros. Yeah, we got Dutch Bros now. So, where are they from? Portland? Portland-based coffee company? I don't know. They're weird. I don't understand their logo. I don't understand what they're doing, whatever that is. But Dutch Bros is, I guess if you're on the West Coast, you might know about this brand. I don't fucking know. I don't know where they're coming from, where they're going, what their deal is. But they've been popping up all over, from what I understand, I guess the South. But definitely Florida the past couple of years. And we finally we kind of had one in the town I live in for a while, but it's like the other side of town where I never go ever. But they opened one that's like really close to my house, basically along my commute route. And yeah, for those who don't know, Dutch Bros is like, what if Dunkin' Donuts had a worse logo and it was a drive-through only and you couldn't go inside? And that's kind of what it is. It's a smart business model. A lot of these new coffee shops do it where it's like walk up or drive-through only and you can't go inside the store because it's a really tiny footprint. There's only enough space for like the for like the staff to go in there and work. I get it. It just cuts down the footprint. It cuts down on the building and maintenance costs, and just allows them to control costs of the product better. So whatever. But listen, it's been a couple weeks that the one near my house has been open, and they've been building this one. I think it's been under construction for a year and a half. I mean, like, dude, if they want to build another Advent Health Hospital or a fucking Publix here, that shit goes up in 37 seconds. It's insane. But for some reason, this Dutch Bros took like a year and a half to open. In fact, they built it like 98% of the way. And then it's like, you know, when you're installing something on your computer and it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 30%, 99%, and then it just stops. And it just stalls at like 97, 98, 99% for like ever. That's kind of what this Dutch Bros was like. It went from like 1 to 98 like in the blink of an eye, and then just kind of stalled out at 99% for the longest time. But it finally opened. We gave it a couple of weeks off to let it, you know, go through those opening week quirks and everything and the kinks, and especially here in Florida, because every time they fucking open a bathroom stall, I swear to God, there's some fat fucking Disney vlogger just dying to be like, hey guys, I'm here from the new Dutch Brothers, and making fucking YouTube and TikTok content out of it. So we just backed off, wait a minute, and now we can basically just go there whenever. And it was a very interesting place to try, because there's been so much hype. I've heard so many things. Everyone's like, oh, Dutch Bros is really good. Have you tried Dutch Bros? I'm like, no, I haven't. I'm waiting for them to open one near me. And having finally tried Dutch Bros, I can confidently say this place is pretty fucking good. I like Dutch Bros. I'm a fan. I think my girlfriend and I, we both agree. We're definitely more, when it comes to like the chain coffee shops, we're definitely more Dunkin' Donuts over Starbucks. It's hard because Starbucks, you know, especially like, dude, like, I feel like there's a trajectory with Starbucks and Apple that like runs parallel, where like there was a time in like the mid 2000s where like the 1-2 punch of like Apple and Starbucks was like so fucking good, because everything Apple was doing was so cool and so interesting, and Starbucks like aesthetic and vibe was like taken off like so hardcore. And it's just, man, that was a time period. But both of those brands have been watered down tremendously, and I feel like Starbucks is at a point now where people are starting to break a little bit of trust and love with that brand. And I'll say this, Starbucks has always had like a pretty fun vibe and aesthetic, and that's kind of been their strength, but their drinks range from like fine to pretty good. You know, I like Starbucks. Starbucks is fine. I'm not a hater by any means. Starbucks has had some drinks on and off throughout the years I've actually liked quite a bit, but every time I love something at Starbucks, they get rid of it. It's temporary. They used to have that red cherry, like cassava, whatever the fuck it was, coffee that was really good. Anyway, doesn't matter. But these, more often than not, I think Dunkin' Donuts is better than Starbucks. Dunkin' Donuts struggles a little bit with the consistency. But if you can find a good Dunkin' Donuts, their coffee is just superior coffee. In fact, the coffee we drink at home is Dunkin' Donuts brand coffee, because it's just the easiest, most accessible, delicious coffee out there. And so usually that will be like if we're treating ourselves on like a Saturday or something and we're going out for like lattes or something, Dunkin' is the de facto place, you know, unless we're like in the city where you have access to like cool, chic local spots and stuff, you know, unless that's the case. Dunkin' is the de facto option. But a few weeks ago, they also, you know, where I live, it's popping. They're just building all this shit left and right everywhere. They recently opened a Foxtail Coffee, which is a local coffee chain from Orlando that's gotten pretty big. In fact, they're expanding outside of Orlando. They're now in multiple states in the South, but they're all over the place. And they just opened a Foxtail coffee shop near my house as well. And we tried it when they opened up, because I've heard good things about them as well. And I thought they were totally fine. There's nothing great about it. They weren't bad at all. They weren't great at all. It was just like totally fine. But Dutch Bros, by comparison, man, Dutch Bros is good shit. Dutch Bros is real good. It's like Dunkin' Donuts at least. It's at least Dunkin' Donuts quality of coffee. Maybe even a little better. I don't know. We've had it twice in the month or so that they've been open, and both times really good. So I've tried my classic order, which is just an iced vanilla latte with oat milk, because I genuinely prefer oat milk's taste in a latte. I tried their fucking American Bullet rifle gun, whatever the fuck it's called, their signature coffee drink, which is like their version of a caramel macchiato. I don't usually go for like those dessert drinks like that, but I thought that one was pretty good for what it was. And then they have a fun cotton candy slushy drink that I got one time in the afternoon, and that drink is fucking phenomenal, because I am a man child who loves cotton candy stuff. If I see a cotton candy ice cream or whatever, I'll go for it. So that was a fun, wacky, weird drink that I liked a lot. Overall, I think, I don't know, this place is pretty good. Like it. The one thing I don't like about Dutch Bros, my only criticism of Dutch Bros, one and only criticism, it's one of those fucking places where you drive through the line, you order the fucking coffee, you get up to the window, you hand them your credit card, they swipe your card and hand you a receipt, and then they go, answer a quick question for me real quick, no pressure, just choose an option on the screen. And it's like, would you like to tip? I'm like, just pay these motherfucking kids $20 an hour and stop begging me for change. Oh my God. But other than that, Dutch Bros is pretty great. Pretty great. So that's it for what I've been eating this week. Now let's move over to the what I've been playing. I did wrap up Kirby in the Forgotten Land. I did all the side content that I felt like doing, so that's done. Check it off the list. We're done. But we already kind of talked about it. Battlefield 6. I've been playing a lot of Battlefield 6. I'm really loving it, man. I really like Season 2. I'm debating whether or not I'm going to go for the Battle Pass, because in Season 1, I only made it about halfway through the Battle Pass, so I'm like, I don't really want to waste my money. But overall, I'm just really vibing with Battlefield 6. After all these months, it's still kind of my game, and every year or two, it seems like there's just kind of my like live service game that's going on in the background throughout the year. And this year for me, it's Battlefield 6, man. I'm really loving it. So we don't really have to linger on it, but I am fucking around with Season 2 and I am enjoying it. The game I want to talk to you about that I have been playing this week, no, I didn't start Fable. I was supposed to. And then I, for some reason, downloaded Resident Evil 4 Remake, because I guess I'm going to play that. I don't know. But the game I'm playing right now, that is the game I was intending on playing, the game that I'm really enjoying the hell out of and I'm excited to talk to you about, is Dispatch. So Dispatch is a game that came out about a month ago. It's only available on PC, Switch 2, and PS5. It's not on Xbox. Otherwise, I would have got it on Xbox, but I got it on Switch 2 because it's a Dispatch. For those who don't know, what's the team called? It's a bunch of guys, ex Telltale guys, the guys that made like The Wolf Among Us and stuff like that, and Walking Dead. And they have a new team now. Let's see, what are they called? The new team is called Ad Hoc Studio. These guys worked on Tales from the Borderlands and things like that. And yeah, they're working on The Wolf Among Us 2, which has been announced for a long time, but I don't know if that's actually happening. But in any case, so it's one of those games. It's one of those games where it's broken into chapters, in this case, 8 chapters. And it's more, you watch it more than you play it, but you make choices. Like in real time, constantly there'll be like choices that pop up in your time. It's like you got to respond, and how you respond and what you do in the game will have serious consequences as to how characters react and how relationships develop and how things play out in the story. And then there's some like light quick time events and stuff as well, where like, you know, like during combat and stuff, like it's like you mash X at the right time, and there's just little QTs and things like that. And this game also has. This game actually has a lot of gameplay, though, for one of these types of games, because, well, let me explain the synopsis. The game is basically this, like, satire, like, comedy about, like, this world where superheroes exist, and you are basically the Batman of this universe, a superhero that doesn't actually have any powers. You just inherit like this technology, and so like your dad and your grandfather before him wore this like mech suit, and then you inherited it and you become this superhero, and then like a chain of events happens and you're basically out of the suit, and then you join this company that basically is this company that dispatches superheroes. Like you sit at a desk, it's like a boring office job, and you control a squad of superheroes, or in your case, reformed supervillains, and you dispatch them to different tasks. It'll be like, hell, my cat's stuck in a tree, so you send this guy, this superhero. Or someone's like, oh, there's a robbers at the bank being, and people they have hostages, so you send this superhero. And the way the gameplay formula works when it's not in its like storytelling Telltale Games style gameplay, where it's like a movie that you watch and make choices as you play along, there's actually this more gameplay centric thing you do in every episode, where you sit at your desk and on the computer you play this fucking game for about bursts of about 10 minutes, where you sit there and you control your squad, and you're like, okay, this distress signal's been released, send out this guy. And the way you choose which heroes to send to which tasks is that every task requires a hero with certain attributes or skills, and each of your characters has that you control, each of the superhero squad members that you dispatch has their own unique set of characteristics and skills. So it'll be like, oh, this superhero is really strong, this superhero is really charismatic, this superhero is really smart, this superhero is really fast, and you'll use those attributes to determine who's the best superhero for the job, and you kind of dispatch them. Then on top of that, there will be like these little like puzzly things that you can do where it'll be like, oh, I need to help you with this mission by breaking into this computer. Let me hack it. And then you hack it, and there'll be these little quick puzzle games that are like super fun, super easy. They take 2 seconds. But that's the gist of the combat, or of the gameplay rather, is it's the sitting down at your desk playing this dispatch game. And then you can like level up your characters and stuff as they successfully complete missions and stuff. But that's like maybe 20% of the gameplay. The other 80% is that typical Wolf Among Us, Walking Dead, Tales from the Borderlands style, Life is Strange style, choose your own adventure, kind of like you watch it like a movie and you make decisions as you play the game, and then the game kind of takes different turns based on the choices you make. And I fucking love this game. It's really good. Right now I'm on chapter 6 of 8, so I am pretty far along. I definitely plan on wrapping it up in the next couple days. But I'm really, really loving this game. First of all, it has an amazing art style. It basically feels like you're watching like not teen rated, but like slightly less violent, like gamer version of like the show Invincible, which is based on a comic book, but the Amazon show Invincible, it kind of reminds me of that a little bit, where it's very M-rated. You know, there's lots of in Invincible, it's just very, very bloody and gory. But in this game, in Dispatch, it's very vulgar. It's lots of F-bombs everywhere, lots of nudity and sexual references and like suck my dick kind of comments, things like that. So it's a very vulgar game. It's very much M-rated. But it's funny. It's not like slap your knee, laugh out loud funny, but it's like very interesting. It's very amusing. The writing is very witty. It's very fast. It's very quick. It's very fun to follow along and play with. And the cast of characters is very lively and very interesting. A lot of the voice cast is like various, famous video game voice actors, and famous actors. I mean, Aaron Paul from Breaking Bad is the voice actor of the main protagonist of the game. But then there's also a couple like YouTubers and stuff that are featured in the game. Like one of the supervillains, one of the reformed supervillains in the game, who's like this bat creature man thing, is voiced by Charlie Critical Moist, the YouTuber. So that was one of the reasons I wanted to play this game, because I was like, oh, that's cool. He's voicing a character in a game. Like that'd be cool. I like Charlie. I like Critical Moist. Alana Pierce is the voice of one of the characters as well. So it's got like different like YouTube celebrities and video game voice actors and real actors. So it's got like a star-studded kind of cast thing. It's one of the game's main draws, and the performances are excellent in this game. I think the characters are really well acted. They bring a lot of life and a lot of excitement to the game, and that's the thing about like this kind of game, because they're so visual driven and story driven and narrative driven. These kinds of games live and die by the narrative. Is it interesting? Is it fun? Is the acting good? Is the writing good? And I would say for the most part, it's really good. My only gripe with that aspect of the game is that I do think I do think sometimes the writing is a little lazy, and just in the sense that there are like one or two characters too many in this game that kind of lean on that like gamer talk, where they're like, nah, bro, fuck you. Oh, what the fuckity fuck are you doing, you fucking fuckhead? You know, like that kind of stuff. It's like, we get it. You can say the F word. Like sometimes it just seems a little lazy or hammed the way they hammed up the way they like overly speak vulgarly in the expletives used. And that sounds ridiculous coming from me saying that. But other than that, I think for the most part the writing is really good. The acting is excellent. The art style is phenomenal. It's a really fun visual pop art style. And I really like this game a ton. I'm really loving where it's going. I'm very excited to play more and see what's next. As far as a gameplay standpoint, my only gripe is that sometimes I feel like those dispatch missions take a little too long. I feel like they'd be fun for like 3 to 5 minutes, but there are some sections where it's like, wow, I spent like 10 minutes of this episode of the game playing that dispatch mission. Like, it's like, I get it. It's supposed to be like the RPG mechanic type, like combat situation. Like that's like the substitute for like actual combat in this game is this mechanic. But I just don't think while it's very creative and it's very innovative, and I think I really appreciate it, I just don't think it's as fun to play for long bursts of time. So sometimes like that gets a little boring, but that's really it. For the most part, like I'm very thoroughly enjoying this game and very much engaged with it. So that is Dispatch. I mean, I guess the other thing to mention, because I am playing it on Nintendo Switch 2, so it's like, whoa, what about the controversy? Of course there's controversy because the internet just can't let anything fucking be. We have to have a problem with everything. So yes, this game is censored on the Nintendo Switch 2 version. I don't know all the things that are censored, but to my knowledge, correct me if you're listening and you know I'm wrong, I'm pretty sure the only thing that's censored is that there are a couple of that when there's nudity, the game puts like a black bar over the nudity. Like there are multiple scenes where like this guy gets smashed or into a wall or whatever, and then his pants are destroyed and then his penis is hanging out. It's supposed to be funny or whatever. They're like early in the game, there's this one supervillain. He like turns into like this toxic flaming waste thing. And when he does that and then turns back to his human form, his clothes are burned off. So he's naked. And his like penis is just covered up by a black sensor bar and things like that. And there's a scene where this girl's having a very not suitable for work dream. And in that dream, she's naked and there are just black bars covering her private areas. And to me, as someone who doesn't like sex in my storytelling and who doesn't think that it's additive at all, I am totally fine with the black bars. I don't care. I'm a little like, I don't know, socially conservative about like the sex in my media thing. Cause like, it's like, I just personally have always thought it's lame in TV shows and movies and stuff where there's like nudity and sex for no reason. I just feel like it adds nothing to the story 99% of the time. And it's just always awkward and uncomfortable to watch. So to me personally, if you censor that or subdue it, you take away nothing from the experience for someone like me. So I just don't give a shit that I didn't get to see the anime girl's titties in this game. It didn't make me any more or less likely to spend money on the game, and it hasn't made me enjoy or not enjoy the game any more or less. So I just personally have nothing to really add to that conversation. I know it's like that is like the entirety of the conversation surrounding this game. Apparently Nintendo made them censor it for Switch, which is like totally something I believe would happen. But if you want to see the anime titties and the villain penises, play it on Steam or play it on PlayStation. Just don't play it on Nintendo. But personally, I don't care about seeing the anime penises, so I just don't give a shit. I bought it on Switch anyway, and I'm really, really enjoying the game anyway. So that is Dispatch. I highly, highly recommend it. I'm be pretty hard pressed to find out that the game turns to shit in the last couple hours of the game, but I am in the last couple hours, and I'm pretty confident that I'm gonna walk away having had a great time in this game. So I really recommend it. All right, guys, let's get to the final comment or final section of the podcast. The comments. For a second, I thought I wasn't recording. I was like, what the fuck? The comments, you know how it goes. YouTube.com/XboxOnPodcast. It's at XboxOnPodcast at YouTube.com. You click on the latest episode and you leave a fucking comment. I don't care what you say. You can say, Jesse, Dispatch is so sad because I love seeing penises on my video games. And if you put a black bar over a penis, I just get really sad. And I'll be like, okay, thanks for sharing all your weird problems with us. And please don't forget to leave a 5-star review on the show. And that's an example of how a comment could go if you choose to interact in such a manner. But guys, we got 7 entries, and in no particular order, I'm just going to start shitting them out because that's who I am. And Calvin Trice hits us with the first comment and says, for me, I'm a ride or die with Xbox, and with Xbox. I'm Xbox at heart. I have Xbox One, but I want to upgrade to Series X because that way I can play new games. Well, Calvin, bro, yeah, I mean, oh man, I'm sorry that you haven't upgraded Xbox Series yet because it's only getting more expensive, buddy. So I apologize for that, or I'm sorry for you for that. But yeah, man, I listen, I respect it. I've always thought, yeah, I'm ride or die with Xbox too, but it's not that like I'm not going to get the next Xbox console or stick with Xbox because I will get the next console. I am sticking with Xbox. I will continue to play Xbox. When I finish with Dispatch, my plan is to go play Resident Evil 4 and then Fable on my Xbox. I love Xbox. But I just feel like Xbox is making it less fun than ever before to be on Xbox. And they're kind of forcing our hands. They're kind of putting us constantly in situations where we have to look outside the Xbox ecosystem and go, well, this can't last forever. What are we going to do eventually? And that's kind of the situation I feel like we find ourselves in. But I appreciate you writing in, and I appreciate the dedication to the brand, my brother. We got to make sure Xbox gets all the money. Microsoft, they're a small company. Their founder, he took a weird medication to hide his STDs from his wife after he visited Epstein's Island. So we got to make sure we give lots of money to Microsoft so they can continue to protect Melinda Gates from the STDs or whatever the hell we're doing. All right, Cronky writes in and says, I really thought I kept up with gaming news, but then I look at the popular games of the moment and I haven't heard of any of them. Reanimal, Darwin's Paradox, A New Legacy of Kain. What is going on these days? Too many releases. Shake my head. I'm still working on Assassin's Creed Valhalla from like 5 years ago. I'm surprised I know of all those games, honestly. But yeah, I mean, it's not that you're old or anything or that you're having a hard time keeping up. It's that there's just too much shit happening all the time. Unless you are making it your duty to keep up, it's your job to keep up. Like, it's just too much to keep up, man. You can't do it all, man. It's like, do you want to use your free time playing and enjoying games, or do you want to use your free time keeping up with all the fucking games that you don't have time to play? Like, it's just too much. So don't feel any kind of way about it. I'm sure we're all dealing with it. I deal with it all the time, actually, when I'm like watching a YouTube video or I'm like reading a thing on the internet. I'm like, fuck, I didn't bring that up on the podcast. I forgot that happened. It's like there's just so much fucking angles and news and things happening to talk about, and I just can't keep up with it all. So I don't, it's normal. Gabagool follows up from his comment last week and says, thank you for clarifying for context. Last week he was saying something about the Lenovo Go, and I was like, no, I have a Logitech G Cloud, not a Lenovo Go, and he was trying to help me with my whole conundrum of should I buy a Steam Deck. So now he says, in my last comment, I mistakenly mentioned you had a Lenovo Go, LOL. That really changes my perspective now. I absolutely recommend getting a Steam Deck 512GB OLED. I must have spent at least a month completely absorbed in getting familiar with new tech. Some people don't like that, and I get it, but you know if you know. Lol, however, the anti-cheat kernel is quite disappointing because you can't play Battlefield 6 natively on Steam Deck. Fortunately, I have Game Pass Essential, so I can remote play Battlefield 6 and other AAA games through my Xbox at home. I'm gradually getting the hang of which games belong where. I still have my ups and downs for having one foot in each door. And that's exactly where I'm at, where it's like if I get a Steam Deck, I'm kind of like one foot in each door. But honestly, it feels like the past year especially, it's like I felt like I've been one foot in each door because I'm playing PC more and more these days. But yeah, I feel that. And I mean, you even feel that way just kind of being between Xbox and Switch sometimes. So totally get that, man. But yeah, I think I've decided I am going to do the Steam Deck. Whenever they go back in stock, as long as the price doesn't change too much, the plan is I'm going to get one. So right now I'm just saving. I'm just putting a couple bucks away every paycheck until they go back in stock, and then I can just kind of buy one, while having budgeted for one instead of just impulse spending one when I don't need it. So, yeah, man, I've made that's exactly what I'm planning on going for is the 512 OLED because it's the cheapest model they still make. But we'll just have to wait and see. As long as they don't like super jack up the prices as a result of part shortages and price increases, then I'm pretty much set on getting a Steam Deck. I'm really looking forward to it. All right, let's move on. Decoy Doctopus writes in and says, I heard High Guard was never supposed to be promoted before release, just shadow dropped like Apex Legends. Jeff Keighley put it on the Game Awards as a favor, but putting it at the end of the show put a bullseye on their back. Yeah, and that's something I've heard as well. Is that making it that like one last thing kind of announcement kind of fucked it up where everyone was expecting something big and massive and cool. And it was a game that just would have gotten so much less shit had it just been kind of like an announcement mixed in with everything else. Or if they just did the Apex Legends thing and just announce it and release it all on the same day. But still, I mean, that kind of plays into what we were talking about earlier, Decoy Doctopus, right? Which is like, it's just, man, it's like the game was announced 6 weeks early or 6 weeks before it came out. And everyone was just like, let's just fucking ruin this game without ever having played it. Let's just obsessively shit on this game, and it will draw attention because people love negativity and people love clicking on negativity, and we'll just fuck up any chance this game has at being successful because we're getting reactions out of it, and we just got to follow the reactions and the clicks, I guess. Tim Moore writes in and says, on the topic of Steam Deck, I wonder how happy people are with it that they aren't heavily invested in the Steam ecosystem. Let me reread that. I wonder how happy people are with it that aren't heavily invested in the Steam ecosystem. I love PC gaming, but I hate DRM. So most of my stuff I buy is on GOG. I'd like to know how well that would play on Steam Deck. That's a good question that I sure as hell can't answer, but maybe someone else here can, because I don't know. I respect the people who are like that. They're like, oh, I don't like DRM, or, you know, like in this console space, people are like, oh, I only buy physical. It's like, good for you. I respect that you stick to your guns and you feel that way, and you take a stand and you follow through on it. Dude, fuck it. If Xbox goes away tomorrow, I'm just buying everything on Steam. I don't care. I'm buying all my fun little indie games and stuff on Steam anyway, so why not? Midnight writes in and says, can't help but feel like a cuck sometimes by remaining on the Xbox ecosystem. Still, Game Pass and Xbox Play Anywhere are currently the best value in gaming right now. Love being able to play games on both console and PC without double dipping and buying the same game twice. I'm right there with you, man. I think Xbox Play Anywhere has become a very, very compelling feature, especially as they continue to really expand it in the past year or so. But yeah, same thing. That's something I look for now. Like when I'm looking at, like, I forgot to tell you guys, I played the Pragmata demo earlier this week, that new upcoming Capcom game. And when I played it, I was like, let me see if I buy this on Xbox, is it a Play Anywhere title? And Capcom is not doing Play Anywhere. Square Enix is generally, but not Capcom. So I was like, oh man, that makes me not want to get on Xbox. That makes me less like definitive that I need to get on Xbox, and more like, well, maybe I could play it on Switch too. Maybe I could play it on Steam. Maybe I'll play it on Xbox. Who knows? But yeah, it's a compelling feature. I really want to buy my games on Xbox when they're Play Anywhere, because it's just that insurance of like, okay, I have it on 2 platforms at least. So it's definitely good value. No doubt about that, man. Way of the Lao says, and dude, unless you have a killer PC, stay the fuck away from PC gaming. It's so expensive. The bullshit. Screw Nvidia, screw OpenSlop, and screw Microsoft slop. Yeah, man, I mean, I agree, but I bought this pre-built PC like 4 years ago, and it's still holding up great. You know, I mean, it's to the point now where, like, you know, I know like 15 years ago, it's like, oh, you bought a PC 4 years ago, time to upgrade. But like, we're at the point now where it's like, my PC from 4 years ago runs fucking great. Every game I put on it runs great. I have no problems with it. It's not top of the line by any means, but it's totally fine. And if I pair it with a Steam Deck, I'll still be able to enjoy 99% of games that I would ever be interested in playing on these devices. So I just... Yes, PC gaming is more expensive from a hardware standpoint. Yes, it's more of a sinkhole. Yes, it's more tedious and there's more upkeep and things with it. But I think in terms of PCs just like kind of being powerful and doing what you need them to do and everything, I think buying a pre-built PC with today's modern tech and everything is a pretty foolproof way to get yourself like at least the same amount of time out of a PC as you would get out of an Xbox or a PS or PlayStation before you'd upgrade to the next console generation. So I don't know. I feel like things have changed in that regard a little bit, but I don't know. What do I know? Tim R replied to your comment and says, this is one benefit of stuff ported from console. They've always been optimized for more realistic hardware. And that right there is one of the reasons I've always loved console gaming. No fuss, plug and play. You just download the game, you boot it up, and you fucking play it. It's already been optimized. It's already made to run on your device. You don't have to do the drivers and all the bullshit. I think about it all the time, man. Sometimes Battlefield 6, it just boots up slower on my PC than it would if I had on Xbox. I just know it does. But whatever, it's just what you gotta do because PC. So anyway, guys, I appreciate all the write-ins. That's it. That's all 7 of the comments we had today. So I appreciate all you guys so much for writing in, for listening to the show. Please, if you haven't already, take some time to review the show on your podcast service of choice. It would help a lot. I just want 5-star reviews though. So if you're less than 5-star satisfied, just don't even review it, baby. But that's going to do it for the show, and I'm tired, and I need to rest my voice, so let me go ahead and start editing this bad boy so I can get it ready for you guys for tomorrow morning. But until next week, enjoy some good video games, whether you're playing on PC, Xbox, Switch, that stinky-ass PlayStation console, whatever it is, enjoy yourself, have some fun, spend some time with your loved ones and family, make the most of your life. God knows it could be taken away from you at any fucking moment, so just try to make it work, try to make it something that you're proud of or whatever. What am I trying to say? Oh, and for Christ's sake, guys, the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold, it's such a good phone, man. The new one, the 7, such a good phone. Switch from iPhone, get the Z Fold 7. It is the most fun phone that you can buy right now. Power your dreams.